Plenty of business done at Chelsea already this summer, and there could still be plenty more to do, particularly outgoings, with up to 9 players on their way out of Stamford Bridge. One looks particularly close. We'll tell you who next. Garnacho. Yesterday, we told you that Manchester United winger turned down a move to Bayern Munich as he only wants Chelsea. I mean, Dan, turning down Bayern Munich, listen, we all know that I would love it if players, want to come to Chelsea. But turning down Bayern Munich is quite something.
It's very brave, because if Chelsea doesn't materialise, then he's stuck at Manchester United. Yeah. And this Chelsea deal is not done at all. They obviously need to sell 1 or 2 before this happens. Whether they go for Simmons before Garnacho as well, and then that space is blocked, I don't know. They could even do full swing and go Eze. They could nick Eze off Spurs.
I'd like that.
I'm going to throw that one in there.
Steady on. Steady on.
I knew you wouldn't like that one. But no, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, really. Garnacho to Bayern, it's 2 big clubs, but like I said, very, very brave.
Why do you think it's just Chelsea? Why has he only got his eyes for Chelsea? And it's I suppose the same with Xavi Simons. There's other clubs interested in him, but for some reason those 2 have their hearts set on joining Chelsea.
I think it's probably the long-standing interest as well. Players do like living in London, let's be honest. There are plenty of you mentioned Tottenham. Christian Romero's just extended his contract. They are, it's settling, it's feeling. I think sometimes we don't fully appreciate these are very young people. It doesn't matter how much you earn, it takes a lot to move away. New language, it's a lot for young lads, So if he's happy, he might have his family over here. And also, it is the lure of London, but also, I think that long-standing interest from Chelsea has probably attracted him as well.
Dan, obviously, from a player's perspective, obviously, when you move, and you've moved around, when you do move, what things did you have to consider when moving to different clubs?
Look, unfortunately, I wasn't getting linked with Bayern and Chelsea, these types of clubs, but location definitely has a factor. I think if you're a big enough profile, big enough player, you can not pick your location, but you can bear that in mind. Obviously, children, I don't know if he has kids or he's very young. Yeah. So again, schools and things like that will all come into play. But Bayern is Garnacho for me. Look, he showed glimpses of his quality at Manchester United, but he just hasn't showed it enough. It was a bit like Jadon Sancho. There's glimpses there. We know there's a player there. It's just who can get the best out of him. He obviously believes Enzo Maresca is the guy that can get the best out of him.
Yeah. Will Alejandro Garnacho end up at Chelsea? We shall see. Right, it's time for a short break, but it could be a big day for Eberechi Eze's future. Just a day before a crucial Conference League qualifier. We'll assess what's next for him and his teammate Marc Guéhi after this. Right, let's get to France now. Marseille have announced that Adrien Rabiot and Jonathan Rowe have been placed on the club's transfer list. The club say the decision was taken due to unacceptable behaviour in the locker room after the match at Rennes. Let's find out more on this now and speak to French football expert Jonathan Johnson, who joins us on the show. Thanks for speaking with us, Jonathan. Reports claim the pair had a fight after Marseille lost their League One opener. What do you know?
Yeah, so things came to blows after the game. Not an ideal start to the season for Marseille, losing 1-0, especially against 10 men, to a late goal. But it's never really a club that's very light on drama, Marseille, to put it politely. They always seem to find a way to create these kind of issues for themselves, and it seems like Roberto De Zerbi doesn't have any patience with either of the players, and they'll be moved on because there's no real way of reintegrating them to the team. They've been separated from the group since that incident, and it's essentially unacceptable behaviour now that Marseille no longer want to tolerate, so they're looking to move on both before the end of the window. And it's really a disappointing start to the season for Marseille, when they had hoped to maybe take advantage of the fact that PSG were not as fresh, and there was a potential way to catch them at the top of Ligue 1, and maybe whittle down the gap and put a bit of pressure on them this season. So things not off to a strong start for Marseille, but definitely a very surprising decision given the severity of the punishment for both players.
Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. Let's get to Chelsea now, and the focus is on sales. RB Leipzig are in talks with Chelsea over the signing of Christopher Nkunku after having previously rejected a loan move from Bayern Munich on Sunday. Chelsea value the France international at £43 million this summer. I mean, Dan, one thing Chelsea are very good at, it feels like, it is getting players out. This saga's been going on for far too long, involving someone like Christopher Nkunku, who, we saw the levels he reached before he came to Chelsea. So does this feel like inevitable now to Leipzig on a permanent deal?
Yeah, obviously the player and the club both want a permanent deal. I think the loan move to Bayern didn't transpire because of the loan. But yeah, it's a strange one. He just hasn't settled. He come in with a big fee. Really good reputation from Leipzig, scored a lot of goals. He wasn't traditionally a number 9 actually. I think they moved him into that position, scored a lot of goals, got his big move to Chelsea, and then he got injured very early, and since that injury just hasn't come back and hasn't been able to get a run in the side at all. So I think it's now time to move on. I mean, the £43 million they're asking for is a hell of a lot of money. I think they're going to get it. I'm not sure, but Chelsea do what Chelsea do, and they do generate money from sales.
I hope Chelsea do get it, Dan. I hope they do. It's almost a domino effect, isn't it, Michael, that, if they can get this one over the line, it then gives them the ability to bring maybe a couple more attackers in. Yeah,
look, I think we know from the last few weeks that Enzo Maresca's looking to bring a few more wide players in. Alejandro Garnacho, Xavi Simons is a quality player as well. But look, Chelsea have to adhere to the FFP rules for UEFA. They had that fine, didn't they, earlier in the summer? They've agreed to have this positive transfer balance. So I'm not Gordon Gekko, but if you spend 300 million, you've got to bring 300 million in as well. But look, they do it pretty well, Chelsea, it's got to be said. I mean,
especially this summer as well, Michael. Just how well have Chelsea sold this summer?
Sometimes I look at the two North London clubs. Sometimes I think they, when they're looking to sell players, they sometimes struggle in terms of the fees. But look at that, 24 players sold, £186.6 million. Now, a few years ago, under the new takeover with Chelsea, there was a bit of what's going on here. But look, as I said before, I think, Enzo Maresca, OK, Conference League, they were favourites, clear favourites to win that, but Champions League qualification secured, and then out of nowhere, winning the Club World Cup. He's done all right.
Manchester United's midfield crisis is becoming impossible to ignore. Casemiro, now 33, looks a shadow of his prime after being outclassed by Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. Manuel Ugarte hasn't lived up to expectations, and young Kobbie Mainoo remains sidelined on the bench. The Red Devils desperately need a spark of creativity and steel in the middle of the park. But here's the twist. Could Adrien Rabiot finally be the answer? Once heavily linked with Old Trafford, Rabiot shocked everyone last year when he snubbed United and returned to France to join Marseille. Under Roberto De Zerbi, he thrived, driving the team to second place and Champions League football. But fast forward to now, and his story has taken a dramatic turn. After Marseille's defeat to Rennes, Rabiot clashed with teammate Jonathan Rowe in the dressing room and has since been cast out of first-team training. That fallout could open the door for Manchester United. Imagine a fired-up Rabiot with a point to prove, stepping into a struggling United midfield. Could this be the redemption arc United fans have been waiting for? Would Rabiot be a game changer or another costly gamble? Comment your thoughts below.